Namo Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'd like to seek the blessings and good wishes of Supreme Lordships, Radha Krishna, Radha Madhav, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Gaunitai, Srila Prabhupada, and Guru Maharaj, and the assembled Vaishnavas. So we continue with the overview of 11th Canto. Today we are on the 25th chapter, and this is the 33rd verse of this chapter.
Tasmandehan imam labhya jnana vijnana sambhavam gunasangam vinurduya mam bhajantu vichakshanaha. Translation: Therefore, having achieved this human form of life, which allows one to develop full knowledge, those who are intelligent should free themselves from all contamination of the modes of nature and engage exclusively in loving service to me.
So this human form of life, again, we're hearing it, how we are so fortunate to have this human form of life. We can develop full knowledge and with our intelligence, free ourselves from the three modes of material nature and engage in bhakti, the most important thing. So classic verse, beautiful verse, spoken by Lord Krishna. To start this chapter is called The Three Modes of Material Nature and Beyond. So this is, again, it's very technical, very interesting chapter. To establish the transcendental nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this chapter describes the various functional manifestations of the three modes of material nature, that's goodness, passion, ignorance, which arise in the mind. So what are the three qualities? Krishna describes, the qualities of the three modes. Krishna describes to how the living entity attains a particular nature by association with individual material modes, beginning with their qualities. So the qualities of goodness, mind and sense control. So one who is in the mode of goodness, sattva-gun, he can control his mind, is tolerant, is discriminatory. So what is good for you, what is not good for you, he can discriminate between the two. Sticking to prescribed duty, truthful, merciful, study of past and future. So he can understand, look, I've done this mistake in the past. I don't want to make that same mistake in the future. Satisfied in any circumstance, generous, renounced, especially of sense gratification. He's got faith in the Guru. He's embarrassed at improper action. He gives charity, very simple, humble, satisfied within oneself. So goodness is a very high level to reach, actually. Not so easy to reach. So passion. What are the qualities of one who is in the mode of passion? Lots of desires, material desires. It has great endeavor, audacity, dissatisfaction, even in gain. So never happy. Even when he's doing well, he's not happy. False pride, praying for material advancement. Considering oneself different and better than others. I am the best. Maybe a fool, but he's always thinking I'm the best. Sense enjoyment, eager to fight, a fondness for hearing oneself praised. The tendency to ridicule others. Advertising one's own prowess and justifying one's actions by one's strength. So this is qualities of one who is in the mode of passion. And most people will fall into this category. Ignorance. So the qualities relating to ignorance. Intolerant, anger, stinginess, speaking without scripture authority, violent, hatred, living as a parasite, hypocrite, chronic fatigue, quarrel, always quarreling, always lamenting, I had this, I wish I still had it. Delusion, unhappy, depressed, sleeps too much. False expectations, fear, laziness. So that constitutes the major qualities of the mode of ignorance. So we can assess where we are. And we've done a nice compilation of questions, which when we answer, we can check out where we stand as well. Our Guru Maharaj used to always say, don't be in the mode of ignorance. And everybody's in the mode of passion. Try to raise yourself, at least to the mode of goodness. But even that is not enough. We have to go beyond that. And what is beyond that? We call it mode of pure goodness, but it's actually bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is what is beyond all these three things.
Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yeah. These modes, are we, I think I sometimes get confused. Are they, one thing is, are we born with them? Second is, I think they fluctuate, but can they be permanent as well? And are they, I think I read somewhere that they can be variable at different times. We can be in any mode here and there, but we should be looking for what is the predominant mode.
Yeah. Are we born with them? To a certain degree, yes. Krishna says the Varnashram system is organized according to guna, qualities, and karma. So yes, we may have, because of our past association with these modes, they carry forward into the qualities that we exhibit. Yes, for sure, we will have them from the past, our samskars, our behavior, our attitudes. They're sort of molded through these modes. And yes, there's always a competition between them. And as you said, different times of the day, certain mode may be more prominent. So in the early morning, especially if one rises early, then mode of goodness may be predominant. So one can chant and do puja. And then we decide to go to work and mode of passion takes over. I've got so much to do. I have to accomplish some. I've got a big to-do list. And then in the evening, we come home, eat a little bit, and we're whacked out, we're tired, go to sleep. Ignorance kicks in. So there's always a competition, and it's not that one mode will necessarily be prominent, but we try, if possible, to be predominantly in the mode of goodness as much as we possibly can. That is definitely the idea. But even beyond that is the mode of pure goodness, which is everything connected to Krishna. Does that answer all the questions, Nanibin?
Yes, Prabhuji. But sometimes some people are in the, I think association also helps, isn't it, where you are?
Oh, for sure. Association is a very important part of the mode that we cultivate. So if we associate with drunkards, we're going to end up, drinking at some point. And associating with people closely at work, we will adopt the same attitudes and goals, objectives. Associating with Brahmanical culture, those who are in the mode of goodness, of course, we will get, that will come rub off on us. And associating with devotees, which is the best, that will give us bhakti, prema bhakti. So,
and the other thing is those, who are predominantly in the mode of ignorance, I found that they find it, we find it hard to connect with them, and we find it hard to change them. We can't change them, but they are usually predominantly in the mode of ignorance. Patient, yes, patient we can move up and down more than from ignorance to goodness.
Very true. One in the mode of ignorance, practically speaking, the only thing that one can do is not to necessarily preach to them or talk to them, but giving them prasad is a very nice way of helping. And actually, it's hard for us to also judge. It's obvious when somebody is a drunkard outside, behaving crazy. It's easy to point out, and hey, this guy's in the mode of ignorance. But it's not always so clear cut. And we're not really in a position to be able to judge, because it's really, that's Krishna's job, let him do his job. But we definitely can assist as much as we possibly can by giving prasad, showing kindness. Showing kindness is very important.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji, thanks.
Thank you.
Prabhu is, sorry, Hare Krishna. It's like we are all sick. We need to,
Yeah, we all.
we are patient in a hospital. That's what the temple,
Yeah,
preaching help us.
yeah.
Yeah. We need association, sadhu sangha.
Sadhu Sangha. Very important. Yeah, without it, we can't make progress in spiritual life without the devotees. Prabhupada, you're muted. Huh?
Hare Krishna to everyone. Yes, I really like this chapter. I will only mention you only one thing, because our pictures are in the back, in the front, so I can't see the third line.
Might be in terms of your settings.
I don't know how to set.
Yeah.
Okay, I will talk to my son about it.
Yeah. Okay.
He will let me. He's not now here, so I will tell him, do it like proper one. Depends on our friendship, or
Yes.
depends on whom we are going with. If we are going with the good people, obviously we will have the bhaktis. But if you're going out, like some people like going out discos and parties, and then your nature will naturally change. You will not think about bhakti at all, and that's what I think.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you want your goodness, it's just you have to keep the friends which are good and which you go into bhakti more, then it's very good. And that's what I think.
Yeah, that's correct. Absolutely right.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Difference between Hare Krishna. Yes, Karuna.
There is one thing that I would like to ask: the study of the past and future. So, what's the past and future?
It's basically learning from your mistakes so you don't make them again. This point.
Okay, nothing to do with the
astrology.
Yeah, astrology of the scriptures.
No, not necessarily. Of course, studying astrology is a profession for the Brahmins. That is in the mode of goodness, yes. But this is more connected with, the person in the mode of goodness. He will understand from his past what mistakes he's made. And because he's in the mode of goodness, he can analyze himself and he'll try to not make those same mistakes going forward. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And the difference between ignorance and goodness is actually quite narrow. If somebody who's in mode of goodness, he's naturally happy. Somebody who's in the mode of ignorance, he's also happy because he's in total ignorance. Perhaps this is a really crude example. The drunkard in the street is really singing away, he's happy, just like the person in the mode of goodness. But the source of happiness is from different places. They can't be compared. But the distinction is quite a fine line, so you have to be a little careful. Anyway, the combination of all three modes is present in the mentality of I and mine, right? When a person devotes himself to religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, the faith, wealth, and sensual enjoyment obtained by his endeavors display the interactions of the three modes. So what does this mean? A person exhibiting qualities such as self-control is in the mode of goodness. A passionate person is recognized by his lust, and one in ignorance is recognized by qualities such as anger. So these are the different qualities you can recognize somebody. And this is a little extension of what Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. He also goes in the Bhagavad Gita in chapters 14, 17, 18 into these three modes and how they can affect every aspect of our life. So here he does it again. Worship. Any person, whether man or woman, who worships the Lord with love, offering his prescribed duties unto the Lord without material attachment or profit, is in the mode of goodness. This is a really high standard. When a person worships Krishna by his prescribed duties with the hope of gaining material benefit and even hankering for that benefit, his nature should be understood in the mode of passion. One who worships the Lord with the desire to commit violence against others is in the mode of ignorance. Interesting. These modes are present in the tiny living entity, whereas the Supreme Law, personality of Godhead, is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. So it only applies to us, not to the Lord. When the mode of goodness, which is luminous, pure and auspicious, so we're looking at the predominance of the modes. The predominates over passion, ignorance. A man becomes endowed with happiness, virtue, knowledge, and other good qualities. So Nani, this is a little bit of how, in the answer to one of your questions, was the dominance of the modes. When the mode of passion, which causes attachment, separatism, activity, conquers ignorance and goodness, a man begins to work hard to acquire prestige and fortune. Thus, in the mode of passion, he experiences anxiety and struggle. When the mode of ignorance conquers passion and goodness, it covers one's consciousness and makes one foolish and dull. Falling into lamentation, illusion, a person in the mode of ignorance sleeps excessively, indulges in false hopes, and displays violence towards others. So this is a little idea of when the modes, have which mode has prominence and what the effect is. Symptoms of the modes regarding consciousness. When consciousness becomes clear and the senses are detached from matter, one experiences fearlessness within the material body and detachment from the material mind. Mode of goodness is prominent, high standard, where one can begin to realize the Lord. When the intelligence is distorted because of too much activity, the inability of the senses to disentangle themselves from mundane objects, an unhealthy condition of the working physical organs, and the unsteady, the mind, the mind is unsteady. These are symptoms of mode of passion. When one's higher awareness fails, finally disappears, one is unable to concentrate, his mind is ruined. We know so many people like this. Drugs ruin the mind and manifest ignorance and depression. This situation is understood to be predominance of mode of ignorance. So now we're looking at alertness, death. With the increase of mode of goodness, the strength of the demigods similarly increase. When passion increases, demoniac becomes strong. And with the rise of ignorance, the state of the most wicked increases. So this is quite subtle when we are in the mode of goodness. We're actually assisting the demigods. We're actually assisting them. When we're doing the Gayatri mantra at the different junctures of the day, you're actually doing that to protect the demigods, giving some of that strength to the demigods from the Gayatri. It's quite interesting. Anyway, it should be understood that alert wakefulness comes from the mode of goodness. Sleep with dreaming from the mode of passion, and deep dreamless sleep from the mode of ignorance. So if we are awake, fully awake, alert as goodness, if we're dreaming, daydreaming, night dreaming, whatever it might be, as passion, deep sleep, ignorance. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, deep sleep, no good. When dying, learned persons dedicated to Vedic culture are elevated by the mode of goodness to higher and higher positions in the heavens. When dying in the mode of good passion, one continues transmigration through human bodies. And when dying in the mode of ignorance, one falls headfirst into the lower births, hell. Okay, symptoms of...
Sorry. Prabhuji,
Yes.
yes, this is something new, that when you're in the mode of passion, you transmigrate through the human bodies. I thought we would be falling down and down, but that happens dying in the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
Something that I learned today.
That's right. Passion, you are, like endeavoring for material gains. And you're right, though. It generally leads to ignorance, doesn't it?
But passion, you have a lot of desires as well.
Yeah. Desires.
So that's why you probably stay in that the human level.
Yeah, to fulfill those desires. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Good. Work performed as an offering to the Lord without consideration of the fruit. So this is our work. We go to work. What are we doing with the fruits? We're offering it to God. It's considered to be in the mode of goodness. So this is karma yoga, straight karma yoga. Work performed with the desire to enjoy the results is a mode of passion. That's karma, just straight karma. Work impelled by violence and envy is in the mode of ignorance. So then we come to knowledge. Absolute knowledge is in the mode of goodness. So that's absolute knowledge, means knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Knowledge based on duality is in the mode of passion. Duality means heat and cold, auspicious, inauspicious, good, bad. And foolish materialistic knowledge is in the mode of ignorance. Knowledge based upon the Supreme Lord, however, is understood to be transcendental. Residence in the forest is in the mode of goodness. Residence in the town is in the mode of passion. Residence in the gambling house displays the quality of ignorance. Residence in the place where Krishna resides is transcendental. So if we make our home a temple, then we're actually living in the spiritual world. Even though why we're here. All right. Loads of different things here. A worker free of attachment is in the mode of goodness. A worker blinded by personal desires in the mode of passion. A worker who has completely forgotten how to tell right from wrong is in the mode of ignorance. But a worker who has taken shelter of the Lord is understood to be transcendental to the modes of nature. Faith directed towards spiritual life is in the mode of goodness. Faith rooted in fruitive work is in the mode of passion. What does this mean? I am working, and only because I'm working, I'm earning a living and I am providing for my family. That's mode of passion. Faith residing in irreligious activities is in the mode of ignorance. But faith in the Lord's devotional service is purely transcendental. Food that is wholesome, pure, obtained without difficulty is in the mode of goodness. Food that gives immediate pleasure to the senses in the mode of passion. Food that is unclean and causes distress is in the mode of ignorance. Happiness derived from the self is in the mode of goodness. So this person is a little bit self-satisfied. Happiness based upon sense enjoyment is in the mode of passion, and happiness based on delusion, degradation is in the mode of ignorance. But that happiness found within the Lord is transcendental. So the substance, place, result of activity, along with the time, the knowledge, underlying action, and the activity itself, the performer, his faith, his level of awareness, his spiritual progress, his destination after that, all partake of the three modes and manifest variously in terms of distinction and hierarchies. So all of these things, every single thing that we do is governed by these three modes, every single thing. And we can tell, although we don't really need to, when somebody is acting, we can tell what mode they're in. And generally we should focus on ourselves. What mode am I in now? That's a good question. Then we talk about bhakti. There are many different destinations and conditions of life for the spirit soul within the cycle of material existence. They are all based on the modes of nature and on fruitive activities which are governed by the modes. But objects related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, places connected with him, happiness based on him, time occupied in his worship, knowledge related to him, work offered to him, and the performer of work who acts under his shelter, faith in his bhakti, progress towards the spiritual realm and destination of the Supreme Lord's personal abode, all transcend the material modes. It is only by practicing the yoga of pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord that one can conquer the three modes which arise originally from the mind. So it's very nice how Krishna is explaining bhakti will get us over the three modes. And then we come to the verse we read in the beginning. After obtaining a human body, which has the potential for developing knowledge and realization, a person who is intelligent should renounce association with the three modes of material nature and then worship the Supreme Lord. First, by increasing the mode of goodness, one can defeat passion and ignorance. Then one can conquer material goodness by evolving his consciousness to the platform of transcendence. At that time, he becomes entirely liberated from material modes, gives up his subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego, and attains the association of the Lord. By the shattering of his subtle covering, the living entity is able to come face to face with the Supreme Lord and thus achieve absolute fulfillment by his grace. This is really encouraging stuff, because there are many philosophers who say that we can never reach God. We were never with him in the first place. But here, Krishna is saying, no, you can reach me. You just have to make an adjustment in how you behave. Increase the moral goodness, conquer the material goodness as well by evolving the consciousness. So this is very powerful, very, very powerful. So this is a really extraordinary chapter. Again, another extraordinary chapter, chapter 25, 11th canto. Any more questions? Any more comments? Okay, thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Oh, sorry, no, hang on. Surinder, anything you'd like to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat,
Good.
Jai Gora Haribol,
Thank you for joining.
Dandavat to all the Vaishnavas. Sri Nityananda Chandram Patita Sharanadam Gauradam Tam Bhajiham. Yes, Prabhu, Bhagavad Gita, yes, it's been described over the three modes of material nature by Lord Sri Krishna. And it's very interesting to understand these topics. All we can use his knowledge to practice bhakti to Sri Krishna. And Krishna, the main point of all these explanations, the main point is that Krishna advises us to transcend the three modes of material nature by practicing, by aspiring to practice Shuddha Bhakti and trying to practice Shuddha Bhakti. We need to transcend all these three modes of material nature. That is the main point, so that we always be absorbed in Hari Kirtan and Hari Katha. And also, the very heart of devotion is life in search for Krishna's happiness. So in one of the bhajan, in Sharanidiki bhajan, he says, Tomara sevaya dukha hoya yata, seota parama sukha. All the distress I encounter in your service is my greatest happiness. So devotees aspire for unhappiness to make the Lord happy. They're ready to even cry for him. They do not want to be freed from such crying. There are very few people who want unhappiness. We chant the holy name of the Lord, we serve the Lord so that we can live happily. I do not want any unhappiness to come. I am serving the Lord so that my health stays good, so that I do not lack anything, so that I do not get any diseases. Those who pray for their health, pray for their offspring's health as well. In this world, people are busy to become released from all these various miseries. I agree to accept even unhappiness for the happiness of the Lord. Such devotees are very rare. Yeah, so this is like that a bit of practicing austerity while performing service to the Lord. And we do not bother too much about our own happiness. And we try to focus in serving and pleasing Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. So this is our like focus and direction, yes? And it is mentioned from encouraging verses from Prapanajimamitam. There is one verse from Sri Kulasekhara, and the translation is as follows. The holy name of the Lord bestows the most cherished objective upon even the most fallen. So we all fallen, and this applies to us. O human civilization, with arms upraised, I proclaim this truth. The holy name awards all desired success upon even stone or wooden-hearted persons who in the struggle for existence constantly chant the Lord's names such as Mukunda, Narsimha, and Janardana. So this verse was spoken by the great devotee named Kulasekhara. Yes, and there is another verse from Srimad Uddhav. It says the lotus feet of the Lord Shri Krishna are the umbrella to vanquish the suffering of his surrendered souls and shower nectar upon them. O Master, for persons afflicted by the triple miseries in this ghastly course of material existence, I see no other shelter but the umbrella of your holy lotus feet, from which the rain of eternal nectar showers down. Yes, Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, very good. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Sorry, it's when you say goodness, it's good. We try to be good, but it is difficult to make everybody happy. I mean, you want to try to be good to others, but sometimes you sometimes get ignorance from them. Either they don't want to know you, they walk away from you.
But that's not what goodness is about. This goodness is different. This goodness is not that you have to be good to everybody. That if somebody is a drunkard and, oh yes, I will give him money, I'll be good to him. That's actually not good. That's very bad. This is more our own behavior, no others. It's our consciousness. And even this goodness is not good enough, because this goodness will take us to the higher levels of material life, like heaven. But that's still in this world. So what we want to do is do bhakti, which will even go beyond goodness into the realm of the Supreme Lord. That's the difference.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you so much for interacting so nicely. It's really good.
Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.